Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. All right, so Ticket TV is letting us all know right now that the Lakers would be willing, according to Johan Bruja, I believe it's the name. Forgive me if I got his last name wrong. I'm not sure if I got that right. But according to this individual who's very reputable, by way of Ticket TV, the Lakers would be willing to make a trade with the Dallas Mavericks that involves LeBron James only, and I mean only, if Luka the Don would be the one coming back. So that's what it is. I personally said that I thought the Lakers would be willing to trade AD for Luka Don. You know what I'm saying? So that Luka Don could play with LeBron James. Since I came to the conclusion that all of this comes from basically Luka Don wanting to play with LeBron James, because the whole conversation about Kyrie wanting to play with LeBron James makes a lot of sense in a lot of ways, except for the fact that they're saying that it's his idea more or less that LeBron James is being recruited to Dallas by way of him. And my thing is, well, that conflicts with a report that also came out that said they had intended to make a trade for LeBron James. Halfway at the halfway point last year or the year before that, I don't know which is referred to, but either way, it turned out that that was some malarkey because honestly, the Lakers had LeBron James locked up and were not in a position to make a trade for LeBron James. With LeBron James at that time, it would not have been possible. So that was a story that came out that I think was really, really, really interesting. I can only speculate as to what the heck the confusion was in regards to that. My speculation. There is a lot of competition as it pertains to what Woj does. You got guys that are popping up left and right. And so I just think that it looks mighty funny that Woj was the only guy who did not get that bad report. That's all I got to say about that. That's where my speculation, it begins and ends. Guys like Shams and what's the other brother's name? I can't think of his name, but I just saw on IG he was posting a bunch of steaks. Some steaks look great. His name will come to me before the end of the day. But Chris Haynes, and those excellent looking steaks that he had on IG that I want one of. It just seemed to me that they were the ones that got taken for a ride in this situation. Maybe for all of our entertainment. Maybe it was just somebody who was funneling information from one of those angles, and they didn't do their due diligence before funneling that information, and neither did Haynes and Shams, and just reported it right away, which has me thinking it came directly from a player. A player said, hey, yo, they was trying to do something, and this is what it is. And of course, those guys gonna be like, it came directly from the player, let's get it out right now before the other guy does. That kind of competition thing and make it so that you're not taking your time to vet certain information because you want to beat the other guy to it. This is that to me. This looks like they attacking each other, and by way of us, the people who would otherwise take in the information and hold them accountable for it not being accurate. So this is why yesterday I was thinking to myself, and that's a dirty game there. You know what I mean? I like the lane that I'm in as it pertains to how I report the league and how I do certain things. Because once you start getting to know people and you start getting into the details of things, it can compromise what it is you're doing based on your own position and the politics of that position. I prefer to be away from the league in that regard personally, so it can give me a better overall scope of what it is that my opinion would be, so that it's not tainted by any details that would otherwise affect the business that I got going on. So that's how I feel about that. I'd rather my business not be too close to the NBA so that this type of stuff don't happen to me, because I would not like it. So that's really what it is, man. It's the cost of doing business. Sometimes you get into competition with people and then, you look up and you're getting striked. you look up and you're getting meleeed. And so that's what that looked like to me, man. Credibility attack, but I don't think nothing of it in regards to Sham and Chris Haynes. I just think that they just gonna learn the lesson. You know what I mean? You can't take the information and be so quick to rush it out without vetting every aspect of it, because this is what is possible when you do. People sitting back and saying you're not credible, or they're sitting back saying we don't know where you got this from, or saying your sources is crap, or saying you're making up stuff, or saying everything but that guy came out with the right information. So that's who ends up taking the worst of it, and I think that was the purpose of it. So that's what my speculation is. Other people have said they thought it was Kyrie Irving's camp dropping some information to get back at the Lakers for not wanting him. But I think that kind of could have been what was supposed to be, as it seemed when you think up something like this. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, we're going to blame it on Kyrie. That's what I think is going on there. So yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I just think guys got to cover their backside because there is other stuff going on. I think that's the lesson learned. Athletes and everybody got to cover their backside as it pertains to what they do and what they're seen doing, because a lot of times people will use you to boo-boo on somebody else. And so if I seen you at the airport with Phil Handy, Kyrie, now I can go ahead and do this based on everything that's manifested from that. Wasn't your intentions, but I saw an opportunity and I hopped on that. So that's why you gotta be careful with the sports world and get tricky. There's a lot of different battles and wars going on with the media that they will use the stars and everything else they can to engage in whatever battles they got going on business wise. So complicated stuff. Ultimately frustrates me because I think it does lead to men's mentality on the basketball floor and all different types of stuff that ultimately gives the players a different way to have to go about their careers based on some of these narratives and various different things that come about from within these battles with the media amongst themselves. So that's what it is, man. In my opinion, that's the speculation. That's what it is. I don't think the Lakers actually were going to trade LeBron James. I don't think this story is probably to be taken as seriously just as yesterday's. It's probably a continuation of the same garbage from yesterday. The reality is I don't think the Lakers are willing to trade LeBron James. And the only way they would be willing to trade LeBron James is for somebody who can get them the same revenue that LeBron James provides them. Luka the Don, basically, and names of that caliber. If for some reason Giannis became available, I'm pretty sure the Lakers would be willing to think of, and I'm not going to say they'd be willing to trade, but that would be what it would take to get Bron out of here, basically, is what I'm saying. You better be that caliber. So, Wembanyama maybe, Spurs. And in that situation, you look at the other team and say, what you're about to do doesn't make any sense because LeBron James is only going to play a year or more left. So you're likely going to be able to get a better return for your superstar. You likely are. So the Lakers know that. The media is going to lie about that. But at the end of the day, I don't think that Luka the Don in 2023 gets moved for LeBron James. I don't think so. So that's just something that I wanted people to know that is out there being floated around, and I just don't think it's possible. I mean, it's possible. I guess you could agree to it. I just don't see anybody actually seeing that in their best interest at the end of the day. Not on the Lakers side of things. But for our future, Luka the Don is a hell of a player. You know what I mean? Somebody we definitely feel we can build around better than the Dallas Mavericks have been, to be honest with you. And so that's one way of looking at it. But for me in my situation, I just want to go forward with a new star anyway. That's where I've been at. It has nothing to do with me not liking Bron or anything like that. It's just that I don't want to sign up for a core that only has a shelf life of one more year. I didn't sign up for that, not on purpose. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's like, yeah, I do want to trade LeBron James. But then again, what type of return would I get for LeBron James? Who's going to give me what realistically would be a good return at this point? And I don't think I'll find one. I don't think I'll get the return that I respect. And that's the problem. And so, like, for me, if you would ask me last year, the proper return for a guy like LeBron James is draft picks. But I have more of a respect for the downside of that than maybe I did last summer. You get the wrong players, you end up with a core that's half of what it is that would be required. I'm looking at teams like Detroit and Houston, and I'm just saying, are they really happy with what they've done slapping draft picks together? I don't think they are. When I look at what Orlando's doing, it's like they're still slapping draft picks together and they still not anywhere near a championship. It's just, how long do you have to slap picks together? And then when they do become something, is it going to be enough of something to make you as good as what we are right now? And the answer is, you only want to find that out if you're absolutely sure that what you have right now is over with. Never mind if it's true or not. You don't want to find that out because what you have is good enough to do what it just did. So it's like, I don't see a path forward trading LeBron James and being truly pleased with what I do, unless somebody gives me something that's not realistic. So that's what it really comes down to. I'm not about to just trade LeBron James for the second overall pick and think that I'm getting a righteous return for LeBron James just because I get Scoot Henderson. Not necessarily. Because if Scoot don't turn into nothing and we end up at 8th seed for the rest of the next 4 years, Scoot goes and signs with the Knicks, then what? You know what I mean? It's like I didn't botch the LeBron James era and didn't necessarily get out of it a good, proper rebuild. So that's the risk, and it's not one you take unless it's absolutely necessary. So as I look at the Lakers, I say absolutely necessary? Not necessarily. Probably in your best interest? Yeah, probably approaching that. But the Clippers is absolutely necessary. They need to do this, whether they know it or not this time. Do it. You are not in the Lakers situation because you didn't win in 2020. And that's the difference for me with the Clippers. Plus, quiet. I mean, he's so unwilling to play at random. So for me, it's like it's not the same thing I got going on with Bron and AD. Bron is going to play if he's healthy. AD is going to fight through his injury. He's going to play through injury. He's already proven that more than once. So it's like, at least I know with the stars I got, they're going to give me what they have. I don't know if I make moves, bring in some other types of dudes, and don't get what they're supposed to give me. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, it's the risk is there. I'm not so certain about it. So that's really where I'm at, man. I think, you start thinking about Ja Morant. Honestly, you start thinking about where his value is. That's really what comes to mind when you start thinking about where's the sweet medium. If I'm going to be giving up a guy like LeBron James, who's only got probably 1 or 2 years left, whose star power is probably going to be high enough to get LeBron, who would be willing to give up a super duper star for a guy that's only going to play for 1 or 2 more years? It would probably be a situation like that where they may be a little disgruntled with the star and probably want to move on from him. But then again, if you're them, you're like, nah, you don't want to get older. You're not going to go after Bron in that situation. You're likely going to get outbid if you're the Lakers trying to get Ja Morant from Memphis. So that's what I'm looking at. I mean, it seems like I'm being disrespectful to LeBron's value, but I don't know how else to assess it. I just don't think that I can bank on him giving me anything other than a year and a half worth of good play. And it's more than likely he's not going to be on the level he's supposed to be at. So it's like, what am I really trading for if I'm another team trying to get the king? Other than the value that comes with him just putting overall booties in seats, which ain't got nothing to do with winning. Maybe I care about that, maybe I don't. But, we're talking about Houston Rockets. If a team wants to go after, and that's what it is. If I'm going to trade LeBron James, and don't get it twisted, I'm not saying I'm happy with this, but this is just what I'm probably going to want to do. I'm going to try to trade him to Houston. Or I'm going to want Houston to give me the return that I receive and send him to a third place. Because it's like, I'm going to want young, established, Green. I'm going to want Sengun. I'm going to want Smith. And I'm going to want their pick. You see what I'm saying? And they're going to hang up the phone a lot more than likely. And so it's just like trading LeBron James for a GM like myself is going to be very difficult. Because I'm not going to get back what I want. I know that. I'll probably end up settling on like Evan Mobley and a future pick or something. And that's just not enough for LeBron James, bro. That's not going to cut it. And I'm the Lakers on top of that, so I need star power back. I'm going to keep the star of all stars and let it ultimately go where it's going to go. Even if I were to bring in a Ja Morant, it's no guarantee he's not going to come here and have some problems. He doesn't affect both sides of the floor. We're not going to be a better team if we bring in Ja Morant, especially if he's suspended for 40 games. It's just a bunch of stuff. It's like, I don't see a path to trading LeBron James that really is going to satisfy me as a Laker. Unless Dallas decides to take on a trade like that for Luka Doncic. And that would be highly ill-advised and basically something that would tank their franchise in some ways, because the whole thing is about Luka the Don. You're trying to sell their franchise on Kyrie and LeBron in 2023. I mean, with no Luka? Yeah, right. They're going to be angry at you. Mark Cuban, they're going to be very angry at you. So that's not real. I think the Lakers, if they responded that way, if this is indeed the Lakers' response to that, I think we were trying to be disrespectful, to be honest with you. I think we were essentially saying, you do something that you're not supposed to do and we'll give you LeBron James. That's the only way it's going to happen. So that's how I'm taking it, man. That's exactly what I'm bringing to you guys. I just think it's a lot of smoke and mirrors. I don't know how these players are going to shake out. And not to be disrespectful to anybody, but I don't know that it's going to even matter. When you look at some of the teams that are being put together and how these teams are ultimately going to be asked to win, you may not be enough to get past some of these young teams that are going to be put together going forward with all this height and length and shooters and all these different things that are coming. If it ain't going to be enough to just slap a couple superstars together and be like, that's it. It ain't going to be that's it. It's going to be them probably getting hurt. So that's my concern, man. Injuries versus the young legs that are coming into the league that are really, really athletic. Injuries. That's what I'm looking at. Jarris Walker one night, Paolo Banchero the next night, Web Banyama the next night, Zion Williamson the next night. I'm just looking and I'm saying, Bron, you got assignments every night, bro. AD, you got assignments every night, bro. This ain't going to be a league where you get a night off anymore because these kids just keep coming, bro. And they big, and they're strong, and they're fast, and they don't stop running. A guy like Jordan Hawkins, y'all going to have to deal with this dude. He's gonna run like Reggie Miller and Rip Hamilton and Steph Curry. He's another dude you got to chase all night. Are you ready for that? It's just like, yo, if I'm Genie Bus, I'm asking those questions. Are y'all ready for that? BDL 44. I thank you all for watching.